So I will start with one of the most popular Cliff, really sorry, but a lot of people over here would appreciate this because one, I'm trying to explain what ChatGPT is doing in a layman's term. Okay, so all of you know this, right? You can just follow the language. Yeah. No, it's okay. I mean,
They want to opt from the camera.
no, that's okay. I think it's fine. Let the audience alone listen. See, this is no, I mean, no Malayali needs too much explanation on what this is, right? Yeah. So, everyone understands this question, right? So, he's the, what do you say, the thinker in the party, and he's explaining why the party lost the election, right? He gave a very big jargling thing, and Uttaman is coming, വളരെ simple ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞ എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ തോറ്റത്, right? That's what he wanted. So, what we want to look at, I mean, if you look at people who are looking at research papers and a lot of different stuff, they try to compress a lot of information. It's really hard. It really needs to make sense. And listen to what Srinivasan wants to say. See, you didn't come to the study class. That's why you didn't understand all this. So, my today's session is all about a study class for all of you on how LLMs are revolutionizing higher education. Like what Cliff said, I'm not an expert in AI. Hell, I'm not even a computer scientist. I did electrical and electronics engineering some circa 20 years back. Then went on, did worked for a couple of years, then did a master's in rural development. Okay. Then spent some time in doing PhD, where I tried to train teachers in use of technology in education. Okay, that's the background. So, I'm absolutely nothing when it comes to CS, AI, LLM, and others. So, if you want to really understand and not be the Uttaman, what you have to do is, yeah, take your mobile. I hope all of you have a mobile. There's this website, joinpd.com. That's okay. So, so you can do it in DND. You can put the mobile in DND. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to be Uttaman, I would recommend that you do it in DND and join the class. See, that's the another way of getting students inside the classroom. Encourage them to use technology to the best possible way where you can control it, right? See, the good thing is, this tells me how many students connected, okay? I see in the audience you have easily 60, 70 people with mobiles. who are now trying to join. Yeah, I see that the class slowly, people are coming into the class, which is a good thing. So roughly, we'll start our class when we cross 35 students. So if you see someone who has not joined yet, push them to join. Okay, 35, 36, good. So a lot of people really is working on it. So yeah, my talk today is about unlocking the potential of large language models in higher education, balancing the need for developing transferable skills and maintaining academic ethics. So now in your mobile you would see a small green bar below which says show answer, right? Students choose an option. 95 people have joined the class. Oh, the count is, so looks like we are having a higher number. It's going to reach 100. Oh, it crossed 100. So you will see a show response, right? So the question is very simple. How many of you have access to ChatGPT or any other LLM at this moment? It could be on your mobile, it could be on other laptop if you have. Do you have access? That's all what I'm asking. Let me see what's, oh, a large majority of you have access. So which means, as a teacher, I mean if in this audience, you teachers have access to ChatGPT, imagine the number of students in your class who are having access to such devices, right? Nothing to take away from the people who do not have access. It's absolutely fine. Oh, I got 105, 106 responses. That's great. Okay. So, I also want you to do a very small activity. You could do in whichever way you want, the AI LLM way or the LLM non-AI LLM way, which is the real person discussion, Google search, whatever you want. Okay. The objective of this activity is to find more about this particular question. What is so special about IIT Madras when it comes to technology enhanced learning or online learning within higher education space in India? Some of you might know it, some of you will have some information, I hope. You can go ahead and discuss. I mean, this class sound is a good thing. You can discuss. If you don't know, you can discuss. That's absolutely fine. This is what you typically do as a teacher, right? You give problems, you make sure that the students work. Okay, everyone is doing something or the other. So what is the single biggest online thing that came out of IIT Madras that you know? You can shout out, no problem. What is IIT Madras and online learning? I mean, what does IIT Madras and online learning have to do with each other? Huh? NPTEL, Swayam, pedagogical training, okay, TLC, right? What else? Huh? Research Center for? Research Center for what? See, these are the questions that you should ask. Yeah, it's a teaching learning center. Huh? 5G launched from IIT Madras. The first 5G center inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi, right? Yeah. What else? Huh? Data science course. Oh, wow. Diploma courses. Okay. How many of you are students of the data science course? How many of you are a student? Good. Have you seen me? No. Okay, good. Very, very good. Have you started doing the assignment this term? Have you started doing the assignment for this week? Yeah. Okay. No, you are not, but have you taken the data science course? Okay, okay. Okay, so let me see what people are responding. Okay. Lot of NPTEL courses, skills infrastructure for learning matters, NPTEL videos, online. They made BTech diploma PG courses in data science online reality. Ah, somebody has actually posted something coming from ChatGPT. Oh, okay. So, for the benefit of online audience, even though you may not see me, see, I am not important. What is important is the activity. If you are able to do the activity, then yeah, I am immaterial. Think of myself as ChatGPT who is just sounding out content. Oh, another ChatGPT product. Yeah, awesome. It doesn't say of the QS ranking. Okay, looks like ChatGPT is not updated yet. Innovation hubs, online degree programs. IIT Madras has started center outside India for the first time. Yes, IIT Zanzibar, the one in IIT Tanzania. I think that's going to start pretty soon. GUVI, oh, so people know enough. Good thing is we started off, so when I started 36 we crossed, we are out 166, which means people from online are also participating. Please give a big hand to all those people who are participating online as well. And 80 of them have responded, which is good. Okay, so let me now, so this is my introduction. I am Dr. Jayakrishnan. I am a senior scientist at NPTEL IIT Madras. I am head, yeah, I mean from October 1st I will be head educational technology and research in the BS program in data science and applications at IIT Madras. What I was looking for were the keywords that are highlighted over here: NPTEL, SWAYAM, BS program in data science and application, which is the first in the country to be offered for undergraduates with multiple entry, multiple exit, no age limit. In fact, the oldest student of the program is a Malayali from Aluva, who is currently 79 or 80. Okay, so he's our youngest student, correction. And of course, so the point was we wanted to invert JEE. I mean, JEE had a lot of people writing with a one-person funnel. We are trying to open it up. 4 courses, 4 weeks, learn with us, show that you are able to put in the commitment, cross 50 marks in an exam, you are a registered IIT student. Okay. So this is about me, technology enhanced learning and IIT Madras. And in this particular, so I wear a couple of hats in this particular program. One is of course as an administrator, the administrative part of it. I manage a lot of instructors who teach, who are the biggest strength of the program. They do sessions, they create assessments, for all the courses. So that's one part of it. I manage a little bit of technology, so I'm slightly aware of the basics of some of them. Of course, I know enough of computer to make sure that the slides and the other things work. But more importantly, one part of my work actually involves looking into research problems, doing research-based interventions in the program. How do you bring research-based interventions in the program? So, this is, I think most of the points that I've mentioned were there in your responses, so no problem with that. So, what I'm going to do now is, so if you look at the Join PD now, okay, so you will see a website, okay. This website was created using AI. I mean the slides, it will be a slideshow. This slideshow was created where I just gave today's title, the title of my talk. So when I came today morning, I absolutely had no slides with me. So what I did was, I went to, looked for AI slide creation, found VPIC, I gave the topic, and I found that it generated. You tell it what kind of tone you want, how many slides you want, the topic, language in which you want the slide, it creates a slide. So if you check those slides, spend a couple of minutes looking at those slides, right? I mean, if it was a presentation some 15 years or at least 20 years earlier, my presentation would have been something that you see in those slides. It's information. What is LLM? How is it affecting education? Right? It's facts that has been curated from whatever they have, the LLM, I mean the AI engine had, and it has put that out in the slide, okay. But yeah, my presentation is not exactly that, right. I mean, I'm not an expert in AI, I'm not an expert in LLM. I don't know enough maths and stats to understand the probability distribution, okay. I just know that max value of probability is 1, min is 0. That's where my probability education lies. But yeah, so through these slides, I want each of you along with me to wear 3 hats. One of an administrator. Think of your college principal. Assume that you have been elevated as a college principal or a head of the department, where every creativity just goes out and it's only paperwork, right? It's a dreaded position by many. The other of a teacher, which I think most of you are. I see some students also. But yeah, think of a teacher. So when I say teacher, it's basically, it could be the standard definition of a teacher, but at the most, which is the conventional person who prepares lectures, does assessment. But I would like a much better definition, which is like somebody who is able to help out another person by imparting both knowledge and wisdom. I think that's how you should broadly define teachers as, right? And in that sense, everyone is a teacher, and of course, everyone is a student. Every day we learn. We are lifelong learners. So it's important that we wear these hats continuously, and all of you does, right? Some administrative hat. You will have your NBA work, NAC work. So there is some sort of administrative thing that goes on. So when you complete a session, yeah, what was the CO, what was the PO, what went in this, how much percentage can I now prepare for it, right? All those things goes in your head as well. But you are also teachers and students. So I'll start with one demo. So this is something that I have done. So We do have a course in introductory programming using Python. We are currently running a remedial session for a lot of students who failed Python programming exam. Okay. So, in the age of ChatGPT, in the age of everything, we still have significant set of people because this program is so broad based. I have people with commerce background, arts background, just 12th standard in some discipline, housewives, people who left education 30 years earlier, all of them coming and learning together, right? So that's what the data science program is. So one challenge always has been, how do you teach programming to non-STEM students or people with this kind of diverse background? We are trying out something. So one such approach, I mean, this is somewhere, I think this is the third phase of that intervention where we wanted to give them questions. So the larger problem that we saw was when we gave detailed descriptive questions, they failed to understand, parse the questions correctly. So we thought, okay, let's give an additional help. Let's give them an algorithm to solve the problem as well, right? So can the skill that we are trying to really look at is, given a question, given a possible algorithm, and unlike what Virat said, this is the correct algorithm. Let me assure you that it's not a refute case. Okay, it's an exact algorithm. Given a problem statement, a correct, one of many correct algorithms possible, can students write the code by themselves? Okay. Our initial attempt was a big disaster. I will not go into details, but we tried a scaffolded approach where this came in somewhere towards this. So, like any other teachers who have multiple things to do, so I had a situation where algorithm statement, so we were initially planning to start a day with a different kind of assessment, but those assessments did not get created in time. Now I had, so it was 6 o'clock in the morning, first session is going to start at 7 a.m., the first batch of students. So there is a mentor who is a senior student who passed Python with flying colors. They are helping the students who are not able to code. So they are helping them, so they will be in a Gmeet. There is a portal where they have to learn. Maybe I'll just show you that portal as well. So we had to put questions, come up with questions, and also give algorithm. So 1 hour of time, what should I do, right? Enter ChatGPT. So there's a lot of, I don't know the page up for this, but I used it every day. So we gave a lot of problems. So this is the first query that I gave. Can you give me an easy level problem that uses concept of dictionary of lists? So the problem statement. So yeah, ChatGPT says, certainly, here's an easy level problem that involves using a dictionary of lists in Python. So there, so the input is given, constraints. Now I gave my next thing. See, I cannot just give dictionaries as inputs. In my input test cases, I have to give inputs as strings. So I said, what if the input provided is strings? Yeah, it gave me the exact problem statement, right? Still, ChatGPT is still doing, yeah, so it gave it as strings. Constraints are being provided. I want to refine it further by saying the input will be of format name, comma, separated marks. So you can see over here, it is name formatted by comma, separated marks. I wanted to, the modified problem statement came up something like this. Each string in the input list consists of a student's name, string without any commas, followed by a comma separated marks, integers. Everything is, can you share? Now I am happy with this level of output. Can you share a step-by-step algorithm to solve this problem? The algorithm has to be in plain English. So it's like a conversation that I am having with GPT, right? So it gave me something like that. Can you give me 3 sample input test cases and corresponding outputs? Gave me a sample test case. Can you share a Python code to solve the problem? Because these are the things that I had to input to my portal. So in roughly 15 minutes, I got a complete set of inputs. Of course, I did validate whether the algorithm made sense. I did validate whether of course the program output is easy to do. So so there were a couple of issues that I had found out with another problem. I don't think, yeah, so I had given inputs of these format as well. So I tried to make sure that what is the extent to which ChatGPT can provide this kind of output. So there are, I think then I tried generating, so the kind of questions, the kind of specific details that I need. So as a teacher, which this particular problem creation would have actually taken me easily 1.5 hours. Within 20-25 minutes, I was able to come up with one useful piece of code with algorithm. Now that I've gotten one, at least at 7 o'clock I can release one problem, right? So I think I tried couple of others as well. So yeah, before 7 o'clock I was able to come up with at least 3, and by 7:15 I finished 4 problems, which is a standard number of problems that we give students. But the point over here that we have to look at is, as a teacher, how are you using this tool? For me, it doesn't matter whether it's ChatGPT, it doesn't matter whether it is a PowerPoint slide, it doesn't matter whether it's just me trying to teach a class. What is more important? Technology is not important. The important part of it is the pedagogy. How exactly? So my supervisor used to say, even with superior technology, if your pedagogy is not up to the mark, that is not going to create any impact. But even with rudimentary technology, if you have very superior pedagogy, the engagement, the motivation, the impact on learning would be so high. And it has been, I mean, we have also, what do you say, empirical evidence for this, not just us. A lot of teachers have empirical evidence to this. In fact, the first 15 minutes of today's session, we had empirical evidence where each of my slide had increasing number of people just connecting and trying to give out responses, right? So how do you, I mean, I'm not sure whether learning is there or not, but at least an immediate takeaway is engagement. People are engaged, people discussed, people tried to make sense of what was required. That's what you want students to do, right? That's what teachers would love to do. And the whole point is, I don't have to, I offloaded my work to ChatGPT in this case, and I figured out, right? Figured out a better way to do it. Some 50 years earlier, teachers still did it. For them at that time, it was not ChatGPT, it was books, right? Some 30 years earlier, there were OHP slides or whatnot, right? I mean, the chalk and board, everything was there. So technologies, they come. I mean, it will be super hype. Did a chalk completely remove teacher from the equation? Did a book completely remove a teacher from the equation? Did a computer remove teacher from the equation? I mean, we are a land where people did a dharna or strike for having computerization implemented, right? So are computers shrinking the job? No. See, certain jobs or certain skill sets would become irrelevant. That's evolution, right? And that's what everyone, I mean, a superior technology is created or is used so that the time and the effort in that particular thing can be spent on something more meaningful, right? So, I think of ChatGPT in that context. I mean, for me, ChatGPT is another technology. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow it could be quantum computing. Day after tomorrow it could be teleportation. Doesn't matter. I mean, I stand here one fine day, just go to the student's room and say, hey, study, right? It could be anything. But the point over here is, what is the fundamentals? Like what Viraj was saying. What was the core conceptual thing that the teacher was trying to do? I mean, a 19th century or a 20th century teacher was the information source, right? I mean, he read lot of books, he had some understanding, that was the wisdom that was transmitted. ChatGPT is doing the same thing. Unlike that teacher who had only very limited number of books to look at, this guy has enormous amount of books, other things, etc. to refer to, right? So that's the difference. But something more important to understand over here is, along with good books, this guy is also looking into a lot of other things as well. So, I don't know, I saw a Malayalam movie I think 3 months or 4 months back, it came in OTT, wherein I think one of the plot point was they took a statue from a church or a chapel, because in one of the one of the books it was written was this was completely made of gold or some different thing. Apparently that was a work of somebody, a blogger who had just ranted on and published a lot of books, right? So what is a good book? What is a book that can be discarded? This particular sense, at least the teachers of previous century, at least they knew which book were authorized, had made sense. Now it's all about, which journals to look for. Where is the, which one talks about it more empirically, right? Or where the argument is coherent, is solid. It is the loopholes, etc. are being well identified. Limitations are told clearly. All these are important skills to have. Skills to understand. And that's what have been, I think, a common theme right from today morning, right? So there is a difference where understanding what to take, be it AI, and the same goes for technology as well. So, there is a very famous Indian scientist. He is actually a chemist, chemical engineer actually, Amulya Reddy. He had this wonderful thing that a technology's DNA is the place from which it originated. You try to blindly adopt that technology into a new location. Of course, the DNA is different. So the type of adaptations that you have to do will also be different. And the best case for this that I see is NPTEL. NPTEL is nothing but a massive open online course platform. So if you look at 2000, when it started, 2003, 2 years before that, MIT Open Course was there. Yale and others had a effort to create a lot of content which is open for all. So the idea was courseware, right? Open courseware was the idea. So when IIT started, they looked at our own faculty creating content in some format. So that started the first phase of NPTEL. 2012, the entire technology landscape changed with cloud and other things. And suddenly MOOCs came in. MOOCs as in the, what do you call, the X-MOOCs or the learning MOOCs. X-MOOCs started so Coursera, edX, everyone started 2012. NPTEL started 2014. It's the same philosophy. A single courseware, there's a certification exam, but what did we do differently? In India, to get more buy-in to these kind of courses and to have value for the certification, there should be an in-person exam. That's where universities will buy in. That's where people will have more confidence. Whereas when standard MOOCs had conversion rates of 10 to 12%, that's the problem that everyone says, right? NPTEL today, we have a conversion ratio of roughly 18 to 20%. And majority of it comes from colleges. And these colleges are nothing but local chapters. So there's something called NPTEL local chapters. And what do NPTEL local chapters get? The NPTEL local chapter, the person who is managing the NPTEL local chapter or the single point of contact, they have a login in the SWAYAM portal or NPTEL portal where they are able to see the data of the student. They can appoint mentors from their college to teach the student, because online learning is hard. You need to push your students, and on top of it, our students don't learn, right? So you need an extra push. So you have mentors, and it's working wonders. A lot of colleges are adopting, and of course, the support from government, policy push, credit transfer up to 40%, right? So it gave flexibility for the entire ecosystem for the massive open online course to actually thrive. And of course, the other thing is NPTEL didn't just stop at online course platform. There are a host of support services that goes with it. So like that, when you adopt ChatGPT or any other technology, what you have to look at is what is the DNA of your teaching learning context. You have to adopt it in that format. So, this is another thing that we did when it comes to students. So assume that students are given, so Viraj said one aspect where students could do something, right? The other thing that we did was, so imagine you as a student. What if you could get English feedback to the code that you wrote? There is this 1.5 hour exam that they have to write without any help. It's a programming exam, it's a proctored exam. So they don't get feedback to that because we close it, because we only have a limited question pool, so we don't open it again. So students are not getting feedback, which is not correct even from a teacher or an education perspective, right? So we looked at this particular thing. We have 3,000 students writing a Python exam. There are 40 questions. Students get 4 questions randomized. So approximately each easily 200 to 300 questions, 200 to 300 students per question. That's the kind of split that we have. It's impossible to manually evaluate it, right? Now when this guy can actually give feedback, we wanted to see whether it gives correct feedback or not. So here is another experiment where we are looking at code feedback and revision. So this is a problem statement that I gave. Given the below problem statement, a student has submitted the below code having bugs. So I'm explicitly telling it to the student that this code has bugs. We'll know it because the student scores are available to us directly. So it's basically what is the common substring. That's what they have to find out. Are you able to, I mean, anybody familiar with computers, computer science here? Can you try to see what the error is? There is an error. Let me be upfront about it. Unfortunately, you cannot copy this onto ChatGPT to find the error. So, you have to find the common substring. So, if you want to see the problem a little bit more, yeah, str1, str2, sequence of characters. So, got is a substring of Göttingen. So, like that a sequence of words will be given, a single word which is a substring in all other words. That is what they have to find. So, you iterate over words, you initialize each substring as false for other word in words. Again you iterate from the words. Too hard, right? Even if you are a CS teacher, see, I only wrote the buggy code. For me also it is difficult to now see, okay, what did I make mistake? But look at what this guy gave. So again, what I gave was enough descriptive comments to say what kind of solution, what kind of feedback I want. Can you provide feedback to student in plain English so that student can identify the mistake and attempt to correct it? Okay, so that's what. Yeah, sure, I'd be happy. Initial part of your code where you split the input word seems correct. You are correctly splitting. Common substring identity. You are on the right track in trying to find a common substring among the words. However, there is a logical issue in your code. In the first loop, you are checking if a word is a substring of every other word. You break as soon as you find one word that is not a substring. So what I had done is, ideally, is substring should have been true. For each case, I should have initially said that with the assumption that it is true and made it false and then break. Find the longest common substring. Here is a revised version of your code. So it gave me the code also. Of course, I wouldn't do this to the student, but this is the power of GPT. Again, even we didn't deploy it in live because we know that GPT hallucinates. So what would happen if a student wrote a buggy code and GPT says, hey, your code is right, right? That guy will come back and say, hey, your feedback says I got it right, but you gave me 0 marks. This will happen, right? But what we did as an experiment, as an analysis, was published in this a conference called ETC, investigating potential of GPT-3 in providing feedback for programming assessments. The finding, I should thank Rishabh, who is the person who was, he's a data analyst, working with us at IIT Madras. Bharat, Shreya are students of the BS program. They were the mentors, TAs of the course. Of course, that's me and my colleague Prajesh, who is working as a CS prof in Flame University. So this is a collaborative work. But what was important is Bharat and Shreya, they analyzed a lot of such feedbacks, and this is what we did. We had a total of 3,000 students write the code, and of which 1,200, we took 1,200 in a random students in random sample. We looked at 7 questions. So we looked at 1,211 into 7. That much code. We sent it to feedback for GPT. So we generated that much feedback. We did a rough sample. Practically going through all those feedbacks is impossible. We did a statistical sampling, and I think we did close to 500 feedback. Close to 500 feedback. No, it's a OpenAI API. So you just You put it in a CSV file, you run it in a loop. No, I mean, you can delay it, right? So you will put a wait, then you will send it again. So those things, technical problems we overcame. So we sent it in batches. So we had a program written to send all these buggy codes with the prompts, etc., in batches and get the feedback from OpenAI. So we had 3 licenses, so we used 3 licenses parallel. So all the logistical issues we solved. Because that time they were giving open license for research. Now it's priced. But yeah, the point was, I mean, it was a minimal, so the number of tokens were also there. I mean, credits were there for us to run a daily hit.
So you have verified 500
Feedback.
500 feedbacks.
Yes, little more than 500. I don't exactly remember the number. It generated 1211 into 7. That many feedbacks it generated.
Yeah, that was my question. Have you evaluated?
Yeah, that's
one
what.
by
That's
one
what.
Or
Yeah, I mean, 2 students, 3 people parallelly working on 500 feedbacks for 5 days to evaluate what kind of feedback it is.
yeah, okay.
OpenAI gave the feedback. We just looked at the feedback and we tried to figure out how it works. So it was a qualitative analysis. So there was a framework which we used. We classified the feedback based on whether it was mixed, whether first of all whether the feedback was correct or not. Then whether it had mix of code and language, or was it pure language. Then again the number of bugs that were identified. A lot of classification was done. That's okay. I mean, this is a first-hand test of whether GPT can do it. I mean, this is what 7-8 months back. This work was not even 7-8 months. It was last November, December. Yeah, almost a year back. We did the analysis almost a year back. Yeah, it's GPT-3. The funny thing was we gave, so again, look at this. What I wanted to highlight was, even with that sampling, what we found was the correctness of code was identified based on so we had 7 problems, right? So the correctness, whether the feedback was correct, it varied from 57% to 79% at that time. Of course, see, we had done couple of iterations earlier, so each time the variability changed, but on that day, like what Viraj, I should have actually put the date of the execution. So it was somewhere around November, December last year. Yeah, it was around November, December last year, because ETC deadlines are January. Yes. Yeah. You have to look like that. Yeah. So it came to 57 to 79%. So we did 3 things. First, we asked GPT whether it is correct. Then we asked it to critique the code. And finally, we asked it to provide suggestions to improve the code. Even if it is correct or incorrect, whatever it is, provide suggestions. So correctness was 57% to 79%. Critique was 41% to 77%. Yeah. And suggestions were 32 to 93%. So which meant, I mean, there was no, no pattern in terms of correctness of the code or what people were trying to, which all type of code. I mean, is it that a simple problem got better feedback? There was no visible pattern that we could identify. So, it's, the 3.5 is much better. The accuracy is much better in 3.5. 4 will be even more better, right? I mean, by the time we published, the feedback came, 3.5 came, and we found that these numbers changed. At least we tried for one problem. See, doing another 500 was impossible. So we tried for one problem again. the accuracy improved significantly for that problem. The feedback accuracy significantly increased. So that's what I mean. Technology will evolve, right? Regardless of whatever we do, technology is going to evolve. So the point is not, okay, this is not a research presentation. Let me be upfront about it. I know this was done correctly, peer reviews were made. We had looked at the data, so I can have Rishabh give a separate talk about this. In fact, I'll try to get his slides that he presented in ETC. But the point was, at that moment, I mean, when we look at, I mean, as teachers, if we want to use a technology, so the simple decision at that point was, should I use GPT for giving feedback? That was the decision that we had to take. Based on this, we took a decision, we will not do it. In fact, we had an entire set of interns work to look at, I mean, we had looked at other things as well, number of lines of code, the time that they spent, the errors, closeness to the instructor solution, couple of other complexity calculations, all those things. They had prepared a nice report, and I think they started doing clustering of that to identify learner behaviors and all those things. But that work is ongoing. But the point was, so what we were going to do was send a report card to the student immediately after the programming exam. This is how you performed in the online proctored exam. But yeah, I mean, we shelved it because this is not, I mean, unless and until, even 90% is not a good number for when you try to give feedback, right? So we want to make sure that the feedback is correct, accurate. So we completely shelved the feedback idea. But what it also showed are potentials. Now here comes the bigger case that plagues a lot of teachers. And even what we also see this, it's not like it's not a problem even in IIT. In a course in Python programming, students are using ChatGPT to generate solution code for both assignments, and even in a proctored exam, they try to do, virtual machine, take a virtual machine, make sure that it is not visible on the screen, take ChatGPT, copy paste the problem and get the code. So what we did was we disabled copy paste because of this, but still students are using ChatGPT. Some of them are using during live sessions when they type the code where they get error. For troubleshooting, they just put the code, they put the problem statement, I wrote this, and then they put the code. They try to get feedback. So now here is a question to all of you. Now all of you wear your administrator hat. Okay, what should be the policy for these two scenarios? What should we support? What should we not support? If you were, let's say, a university representative who has to frame the assessment policy keeping in mind the LLMs, how will you set the policy? Right? That's the question. No, but if somebody is doing it for, so it puts the other question, right? If in a class, over here I saw 70% of them who is having access to GPT. If you are having access to something, why not use it, right? Correct. So, so what should the policy be? Should we completely abhor it, saying that, so should we be like, any of the, strict religious policies? No, don't eat non-vegetarian, you will be cast away from the group. Don't do intercaste marriages. What should the policy be? I mean, it's as a society we have to be sensitive about it, right? There is an ethical dimension, as in exams are supposed to be a test of something. I mean, it has to be taken in a spirit where it's the learning that is getting assessed, right? So with help, without help. So what is the ethical policy, right? And this is a dilemma. I mean, I'm not saying that I have the right answer. Okay, I mean, I don't have the right answer. But there are a lot of people who are working to figure this out. There are a lot of people discussing this. I think we should listen to it. If we have a point, we should contribute to it. And this is something that I saw in ETC when we went. There was a working group navigating the AI coding revolution for computing education, an ETC group conducted by humans. So this is the website. So ETC working group, ethics of generative AI. So they have a one-pager as of now. They are opening up, I mean, they are asking people to contribute their ideas. So they have identified risks, examples of permitted use, examples of inappropriate use, impact on others. This is completely, I mean, this is in public domain. I mean, it's, anybody wants to add it to your curriculum also, this is fine. But if you have inputs, give it over here. I think ACM is trying to come up with a policy in light of ChatGPT. So, but yeah, I mean, this is exactly what everyone has to think about. I showed you some places where it helped me as a teacher. I showed you versions where it was not so good for students, but good for students in certain cases. Now, a policy person, as an administrator, there is this, what should I do, right? So, I am a pakka professional, Manislayo Sare, right? So, that is how we can unlock potential of ChatGPT or LLM or AI, replace this with any other technology. 2 years later, I can give you the same talk, and hopefully, I hope Uttaman is now clear about why we lost, right? Okay, so that's it from my side. I hope all of you go back with fond memories, think about ideas, think about ways in which we can try to do this a little bit more better, okay? And possibly try out yourself. I think that's the more important part. I mean, Viraj was talking about teachers adopting pedagogy. Again, I'll say superior pedagogy any day trumps superior technology. You can take it for granted. I can give you a 1 crore check, blank check to get that, I mean, if you are able to prove otherwise. At the end of the day, we want students to learn. We want ourselves to learn. That's what really education is. Education is higher only when we ourselves start introspecting, we do inquiry, we let students do inquiry.
So I have a correction.
Yeah.
We have to learn. We professors have to learn
Absolutely.
how to use ChatGPT.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And our students have to learn how to use ChatGPT.
Absolutely. That's why I said you should have logged in when I said to join PD. But yeah, I mean, it's a good, I mean, at least if you take this message and go back, I think my job here is done. Questions? By the way, I'll give you a challenge. If you can think of something from the session and not read from that book, I'll give you a chocolate. Yeah, questions? You have 5 minutes.
Sir,
yeah.
Sir, a question on transferable skills. Sir, in the morning, Cliff said that for vaccine development, a time contraction was possible because of AI. Time contraction. My question is regarding, a practical question regarding, can we teach quantum computing in one day with the help of AI or ChatGPT?
Depends on who is on the other side. If
Exactly.
there is someone who knows enough of quantum mechanics, enough of computing, yes, you can.
Okay.
But if you think, I mean, if you put a person who passed, barely passed the basics required to learn quantum computing, no, it cannot be.
Is ChatGPT a best professor like the olden days?
See, it's relative. I mean, there is no concept of best professor or worst professor. I mean, that's what I said. I mean, any technology, it amplifies the best and the worst of the person using it. If you are a best professor, then ChatGPT makes you even more better professor,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
Excuse me. My question is, between the students here as well as the teachers, the administrators, everybody agree that they have to implement as far as possible using all ethical standards, etc. But there is a gap between what is professed and what is being implemented. Can you explain what is that gap, how we can bridge that gap from the administrative point of view?
From an administrator's perspective.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a group of an institution with the head of the institution, teachers, students, everybody want to use
I think,
it.
see, the fundamental gap is both what I think both students and teachers, what they have to understand is, each of them have a lot of things to learn. I mean, they have to admit it. I mean, just because I am speaking on the stage, it does not mean that I have all the answers. In fact, what we should appreciate, and this I think is very important, any class, I think the first thing, if you just figure out, I think somebody has said it really nicely. If you set the foundations correctly, then the result that comes out will not be a castle made of bubbles. That foundation can extend on its own. You don't have to worry about it. And this is a constant thing. When I go take FDP sessions, syllabus coverage is not your aim. Concept coverage, skill enhancement, that should be your aim. Give the student the courage, the motivation, the fundamentals that they can learn on their own. Then you don't have to worry about the syllabus, right? 5 modules I have to complete in 40 days. There are 3 holidays coming up now. Next week there is a bandh. The other week there is a retaliatory bandh. So my days are lost. I have to cover my syllabus. What happens? You give a slightly higher assessment in your exam. Maybe more students lose. I mean, they are not able to figure out, right? But you give them enough motivation to do those kind of things. I mean, university exam, I understand you cannot do anything. Why can't you do that in your internals? Why can't you ask more important questions in the internals such that student is challenged? If each and every teacher thinks of this and of course each and every teacher thinks of this as a thing that they have to do rather than what AICT or Kerala State Higher Education Council has to say, then there will be a difference. I mean, why are IITs being premier institution? Because at the end of the day, the assessment is done by the faculty. Nobody questions the faculty. And what the faculty says is, I know what I have taught them. I will assess them on what I think they should have learned, right? And it's a system. I mean, it didn't come up in one day. It came up after a lot of iterations. So if we give this particular thing, and I think this is the gap. If you ask me, I mean, at least my understanding is this is the gap. I'm not saying that this is the correct answer. My understanding is this is the gap.
I think at least one proof of concept center has to be initially established so that the teachers, institutions can come and see.
So there is I mean,
Complete, you have
a lot of proof of this. I mean, if you want to really look
no,
right from international to Indian level. So I have a case where a college in Solapur, the entire faculty, they systematically converted their teaching system into active learning. They did two things, two simple things: peer instruction, think, pair, share. Every faculty, they were guided. I mean, there were some structures built in the college. In fact, they have put a paper in the T4E, I think 4 years back, 5 years back, where this community of practice was developed. So what you need is that community of practice.
What I was telling is proof of concept center itself, physical center in Trivandrum or elsewhere.
So
where, you can,
I'll reposition it. Can I create a proof of concept that others can see?
better. You can do it. And
Yeah, so your class. So I think where it should start is my class should be a proof of concept for my college. When you start from there, then the entire thing changes. See, it's that thought that matters, right? I mean, what you and I said is the same thing. We need a proof of concept center. What I said is, why not it be my class? And
we can combine both.
you can combine both. I mean, if you have enough, see, that's where, I mean, if the head of the institution or that group has enough buy-in, you can combine both. But it's that investment, it's that thought that I think I think everyone says this philosophically. Change should start from within, right? It's the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions? Backbenchers? Yeah. Huh? Walchand Institute, Solapur. In fact, they have a website where they have even given slides and other things of this. In fact, so why I am so familiar with this is because my entire PhD thesis was how can you make teachers do adopt technology, integrate technology with the help of active learning. So that's why I know these individual cases. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of challenges. I'm not denying. I mean, this is, so yeah, Njan Sopnam Kanda Kinasheri may come in another 50 years possibly. But yeah, the point is, why not Kinasheris happen on a daily basis in each and every of our classes. I think that's the thought that I would want you to take. Yeah, possibly with ChatGPT, possibly with AI, potentials are huge. Like every other technology, there is immense scope for this. Please do take it. Yeah, thanks.